We're going to go ahead and take a look at these lines for Week 5. See if anything really stands out. If we can give a little clue on who we're thinking about this week for our 3 picks. I got to make a comeback. I'm in last place, so I don't know. Let's start off with, obviously we already saw Chicago, Washington, but Jacksonville at Buffalo. That's another London game, so Jacksonville stays there to play Buffalo, who's been looking good, and they're favorites by 5.5. I think I'd still go with Buffalo here, but how you guys feeling about that? Travel plays a factor, obviously, too.
Yeah, I brought up this question: is Jacksonville have the advantage because they don't have to travel all the way to London? I think there's pros and cons. Obviously, they've had 2 weeks to do whatever they want in London, so I guess that could be said. But I think that travel is a big deal. I think it definitely helps the Jaguars in this sense. But the way Buffalo's been playing lately, it's hard to
pick against them.
Go against them. But 5.5 is a lot of points for this matchup. I think
maybe an over. 48.5 is a lot too, but
the London games are always so weird to me. Like there's always some randomness to them. So I probably wouldn't play it either way. I don't really, because I can't answer what what teams are going to show up. Like there's too many variables to me in the London games. I don't know. I probably wouldn't bet it if I was going to make a play. I'd probably lean to the under, actually, just because I think the offenses could be a little off for Buffalo with the travel. Jacksonville could do some things on defense to slow the game down, but I probably wouldn't play it.
What was it? Was it 2 years ago or a year ago?
Last time these teams played,
yeah, it was like
it was Urban Meyer's last win.
12-9
as an NFL 9-6.
9-6, something like that, crazy. Speaking of the travel factor, Houston at Atlanta. And I don't know, I was listening, obviously, the Lombardi line we listened to, and they were talking about teams traveling back from London and playing the next week. And they just said the defense has never come out looking well. And Houston, after a big game, obviously against Pittsburgh, going into Atlanta as underdogs, 1.5, so almost a pick 'em. So I think Atlanta's got to run the ball, obviously. Desmond Ritter is still questionable.
Yeah, that's a weird line for me. I don't know why Atlanta's favorite in that. Yeah, in this matchup, the way Houston has been playing the last 2 weeks.
I think Atlanta plays better at home, right? That's like the narrative.
Yeah, I guess. I think so. This game is featuring the Texans coming off a 17-point win and a 24-point win, and Atlanta is coming off 2 20-point losses.
Yeah, they lost,
and they're still favorite. So
very weird.
I don't know. That kind of I would want to take the Texans in this matchup, but given Atlanta's favorite, I don't. It might be a stay away.
They got to know something, obviously, the books.
Yeah, that over under is 41.5. I could see being 24-20, but it seems like a good line. Again, it's another tough game. I don't know if I would play anything there. If Houston was favored, I'd almost be more obligated to take them because then Vegas believes they're going to win. But Vegas is always pretty good. There's a reason they're favoring Atlanta.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, you got Carolina at Detroit. This is Detroit's first time being, I think the highest was 3 years ago against the Browns. They were 8-point favorites, maybe 3 years ago, whenever the Browns went 0-16. Just because I listened to a lot of podcasts for Detroit, it looks like Amon-Ra is like a 50-50 chance of playing. And then Brian Branch probably isn't going to play. But they do have Emmanuel Mosley playing, and then they have a couple linemen coming back as well. And I think Carolina, Dante Jackson's out, right? J.C. Horn. So obviously that secondary is a little beat up, and then Shaq Thompson's out for the year. So, and then Austin Corbett just got off the IR, but he won't be playing for 2 weeks or something. They said they're using that as his training camp. 10 points is a lot. Obviously, I like the Lions to win, but I don't know if I'm probably tease it down if anything.
Yeah, I would play the over 44.5. I do think
fair too.
I do like the Lions. I think I could see their defense giving up some points in this game just because it's hard to keep putting performances like they've been doing out there. So I would say Carolina could get some points in this game, but I just don't trust the Carolina defense. I see Detroit scoring 28-34. So, if Carolina gets into that 14-17 range, 20 range, the over is going to hit. So that would be my play in this game.
Yeah. Definitely thinking about also – Bryce Young is, I think in terms of turnovers, right, he's like even with the amount of turnovers, and Has he? How many touchdown passes does he have this year? I'm not sure. Four. Yeah, I
Four,
think he's like
maybe
even
four or
with
five.
turnovers. But just the reason, I
Zero.
mean, yeah, Detroit's defense has been good also is because the Lions have been able to control the ball. So obviously, the least amount the defense is on the field, the better off they're going to be. Uh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see with that game. Next game is going to be an in division game, Tennessee versus the Colts, and looks like it's a plus 2.5. I think Jonathan Taylor's back too. They're still questionable about him coming back. I don't know if you saw his press conference, but he seems to be all the way back, not even thinking about a trade again, probably because no one wanted to pay for
Yeah,
him.
I think this is an interesting game. I mean, it actually has some, I guess, division implications. They're both two. Everyone in that and AFC South is 2-2. I'll be interested to see how much Jonathan Taylor plays. I mean, if they get him back to what he was in 2020,
Yeah,
him and Anthony Richardson, that's a
scary
lethal
tandem.
rushing attack. So, but I think this is going to be a field goal game. So, I probably wouldn't take it at that. Maybe Tennessee minus 2.5 the way they played last week. But yeah, this is gonna be a good game, I think.
So going to the next one. It's going to be Giants at Miami, and obviously this is the biggest spread of the week, I believe. So 10.5. Obviously Miami with the high-powered offense. Giants just looking awful, having players call out fans, Evan Neal. Just all bad things are looking for the Giants, especially with Daniel Jones' performance the other night. They got 11 sacks on them. Offensive line looks awful. At Miami too. Is this one you attack a 10.5, maybe the over 48.5, but I don't know if Giants can put up any points as well because that Dolphins defense is still pretty good. Obviously they had a rough week last week against the Bills though.
I would probably play the over in this. I think Miami can score some points. I think Giants will do enough. They've had a couple turnovers there, but they kind of move the ball. They gotta punch some touchdowns in, but I could see them getting some points in this game. So I'd probably play the over there.
Yeah, this is just too many points. I mean, it's the NFL. I can't ever take a team, minus. You can get them at FanDuel at minus 11.5. That's just so many points. I mean, you always get that backdoor cover at the end.
Unless you're
They're
the
up
Cardinals.
17, and Giants score a touchdown at the end. So it's a lot of points. Maybe maybe the over is in play, but I mean, how many points? If the Giants can get 17, you would probably think that the Dolphins probably got 34 around there. So
That's what I mean. That's why I think it's not that bad of a 10.5.
it's just so many points, though.
If you're the Dolphins, like realistically, they're going to put up. I mean, you would think at least 30 points at home. Can the Giants score 20?
I don't know.
That's what I mean. And last week the 49ers covered a 14-point spread too against the Cardinals. They couldn't backdoor cover for me.
You're right. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think Miami seems to put up points. How much did what was the score last week against the Bills?
48-20.
And they had a pretty poor performance too as well in offense. But
turnovers.
And we'll go to your team next, playing Baltimore. Baltimore's going into Pittsburgh, and not often are the Steelers 4.5-point underdogs at home, but this seems like, in the past, a Tomlin game coming off a really bad loss, home game versus a division rival to pull off the upset. What's your view on this one? I know you're not going to play it because of the past picks you had.
I'm done playing the Steelers, but Tomlin is, as a home dog against the spread, 15-4-3. So
pretty good.
And I will say the Steelers always play Lamar Jackson well. I think he's 2-3 against the Steelers since he's been the starter with the Ravens. So we usually play them well, but I mean, I don't know how I could come up here and say that offense is going to do anything against this Ravens defense. But you never. I think it'll be a field goal game. So I mean, the Steelers might be the play here, but I just can't take it for obvious reasons based on how that offense played last week.
And just to fill it, I'm pretty sure Pickett's going to go, right? He's got that big knee brace on.
Yeah, I don't know if he's wearing the knee brace, but he is a go. So
after
that injury scare last week.
Yeah, I would take my chances with Pittsburgh as a 4.5-point dog. Like, I think Tomlin will, although he might not be great managing the clock and 9-8 isn't great, coming off a butt kicking like they got, you would expect them to respond at least. Home dog, that's a lot of points as a home dog. Yeah. So
this is a big game for them. They're going in, I forget, I sent this out to some people last week about teams going into a bye versus a division opponent, and it's very in favor of the Steelers have a bye next week, so they're playing a division opponent, and
Kind of lay it out for that week.
it favors the team in that situation. So
That was
I think it was last week the Chargers won and covered,
the Seahawks.
the Bucks won and covered, not the Seahawks.
They played
the
Monday
Giants.
night.
They played it's a division game.
Oh, I thought it just meant in terms of going into a bye.
The Browns lost, but without Watson, I don't know if you would still be confident in them when that decision came out.
Yeah, so they were 2-1 last week. Yeah. So
38.
Yeah, I mean, 4.5 is a lot of points for this this matchup. But
so I think it's the lowest over under as well, 38, which they're typical. Those defenses. Moving on to the next game, you got New Orleans going into New England, and this is a pick 'em. New England has looked very, very bad. Mac Jones, some poor decision making, but they can't play down. But the Saints haven't looked great either. Yes, last week Derek Carr was just a check down machine. They lose a division game to Tampa Bay, and just they don't look great at all. So I don't know. This one's a toss up. That's probably why it's a pick 'em, but I don't even know who I'd go with here.
I think this might be a play for me. I'm gonna take the Patriots in this matchup.
Home game.
Yeah, I just think Bill Belichick.
No Judon.
Coming off his biggest. Yeah, I know. No Judon, no Gonzalez. I get it, but they've had players fill in the past, and they've been able to win football games. But Belichick's coming off his worst loss as a coach for the Patriots, I believe. I don't know if he had a worse loss with the Browns, but I don't know what is going on with Derek Carr, like his shoulder. He couldn't push the ball downfield at all. So I think the Patriots are live as a home dog in this situation. Obviously, to win outright, because unless they lost by one. But 60% of the money is on the Patriots, as well as 52% of the bets. So the public is on the side of the Patriots.
Yeah. Bill Belichick, home game. Kind of a toss-up, so you kind of go with the New England Patriots typically, but you just got to. Mac Jones just can't turn the ball over. Defense, I don't know. I don't think J.C. Jackson's going to play. Maybe he will. It's coming back. They got him back. Played well in New England when he was there, so we'll have to wait and see. Let's move on to the next few games. Cincinnati at Arizona. Kind of surprised. If you're looking
that line
at
is moving to Arizona. I think it started at 5.5, 6.5.
I was going to say, if you look at it through like a preseason, obviously you think the Bengals would be favored. But if you look at both teams, Arizona has been playing better, and they've been playing pretty good competition too with the Cowboys, 49ers, some top teams in the NFC, +3. Burrow looks full. They said Burrow's back to being healthy. You don't know it until he's on the field. So I don't know. I kind of like Arizona here. I think Josh Dobbs has been playing really well as well.
Yeah, I think this will be. I think a field goal game is right. Maybe Cincinnati can get on the right track. Maybe make some plays downfield if Joe Burrow's trusts in the pocket and pushes the ball downfield. But I think he has the worst yards per attempt.
Yeah.
In the NFL right now, so it's hard to back the Bengals, and the way the Cardinals play, you're going to get good effort throughout the game. So I think maybe the over might be in play in this game.
You think
I don't really trust both defenses at 44.5. So
I don't know. Bengals haven't put up much points these past few weeks. I don't know. 44.5. We'll see. Move on to the next game. You got Philly at LA to play the Rams, and they are 4.5 point favorites. The Eagles, that is.
Is Cooper Kupp playing?
I don't know.
No?
I'm not sure.
I know we were just going over Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and 4.5, but Stafford is banged up. Eagles, I don't know. I would bet the Eagles in this game. I know they have been close, but I think Stafford's more banged up than he's willing to admit. He could barely get through that Colts game, so I just don't see how they're gonna be able to stay within a touchdown. It's not like they have a home field advantage in LA. A lot of Eagle fans are gonna be out there, we talked about. So I like the Eagles in this game.
I could see it.
Yeah, I think I actually like the Rams in this game. I don't think the Eagles defense is nearly as good as they were last year. They're not getting as much production from that defensive line they did last year. I don't know if Hassan Reddick has a sack.
He got a sack last week. He did.
He has once. I do worry that Stafford is banged up a little bit, but I think McVay is going to scheme it up where They're getting the ball out quick, and I think this Rams team's actually pretty good. If they can protect Stafford and keep him upright, I think they're going to move the ball against the Eagles defense.
Yeah, I'm interested. I think that's since it's on the West Coast, should be a 4:00 game. So I'll probably watch that one after the Lions game. I obviously like watching Stafford play, just from Detroit days. Moving on to Kansas City at Minnesota. Minnesota are underdogs at home, +4. They come off a win against Carolina last week. I believe it was an 8-point win. Kansas City with a tough one in New York. I mean, 52.5. I don't know if this is the biggest over of the or over under of the year so far, but obviously
I think Chargers Vikings.
Chargers Vikings was higher, but and that hit right. That one hit. But I think Kansas City's defense. I thought it did. Didn't it go 34-28?
27.
34-27.
No. Yeah. I think it was because they could. If the Vikings score at the end, they would have won.
Yeah, and they turned the ball over, which has been the story of Minnesota this year. Turnovers in the red zone. I mean, Kansas City, they find ways to win. So
I think the 52.5 points is a lot. Like the Vikings offense only put up 14 against Carolina last week, and which is not a lot. There was 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. There's only 34 total points. So I could see this game. And Kansas City, while their offense has been good, they haven't been the most efficient. Against the Jaguars, they had some field goals. Last week, they played the Jets. I mean, they had some points against the Bears. But, I could see this game staying in the 20s and hitting that under.
Yeah. I kind of was feeling under on that as well. Just based on, I don't think Kansas City, after getting, besides the Bears game, obviously, have not really got back on track to how they usually put up points. I think they're missing that receiver too. I don't think anyone's really stepped up in the receiver room for them. Maybe they just keep feeding Pacheco, who's been pretty solid for them. Moving on to the next one, obviously we got Jets at Denver, and Denver's going to be home favorites, which kind of questionable to see them as favorites. But with the Jets, they had a good performance. Zach Wilson looked probably his best he's ever has last week. But I guess the question is going to be, can he do it 2 weeks in a row against a pretty awful Denver defense?
That is the question, if he can be consistent, from game to game. But I think I like the Jets in this situation, +2.5 on the road. That Denver defense is just, like we said, historically bad. I think maybe the Jets defense needs to step up and get some turnovers on Russ, get after him a little bit. And I think the wrong team's the favorite. I don't know why Denver is the favorite. So
I guess just the fact they're home and one team came off a win and the other one a loss. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I like the Jets here.
Yeah,
I can't trust in Zach Wilson, but I think that defense will play really well there, and I don't think the Broncos' offense is any good.
I think they got to lean more on Breece Hall. I think. I mean, this got to just keep.
For sure.
Just keep getting this guy that carries. I don't understand. This guy is explosive. All it takes is one for him to put you in scoring position or take it to the house. 43.5 is too big for over under.
No, I think that's right.
Yeah. Would you go over here?
21-17, probably around there.
Yeah,
21-17.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 more games. Let's finish it up fast. This got to be the game of the week. Dallas going to San Francisco. This is the biggest test for Dallas. I know they lost to Arizona, but every other game they basically had a blowout. Patriots, Jets, Giants blew them out. This is their biggest test, and this is probably the 49ers' biggest test. I mean, they haven't really – they beat the Cardinals, Rams, and Steelers early. San Francisco is a -3.5 favorite, over under 45. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it's a field goal game, so I do like Dallas in this situation. Like you said, though, I mean, Dallas hasn't played any close games, so it'd be interesting to see how if Dak can lead them down the field to get a game-winning field goal, or
he
put
hasn't
them
been
in the
tested
position
like
to win
that this
the game.
year yet.
So I do think it's a field goal game. I don't think the 49ers, they're the 49ers and they're playing really well, but they haven't really played anyone either. So their four wins are against the Cardinals, Steelers, Rams, and Giants. So Rams is a good victory, but I do think this is a field goal game.
I think if Dallas to win has to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb and the receivers. Like, I don't think the 49ers backfield is that good. Now you have to deal with the pass rush and the linebackers coming off the ball, but I think they can exploit them there a little bit. So as long as they can attack those and don't get down where Bosa and them can get off, I think they got a good chance to beat the 49ers this week.
And just looking at it last year when they played in the playoff, what was the score? Like
19-12.
19-12. So obviously the under might be a play here if both defenses kind of show out. We'll go real fast. We don't have too much more time. Usually we'll cover the Monday night game when we do our Monday recap of Sunday. Got Green Bay at Las Vegas. So, pick them again. I'm kind of leaning more towards probably Green Bay here just because of how the Raiders been. But maybe is Aiden O'Connell going again?
I'm not sure who's going, but I like Green Bay coming off the 10-day.
Yeah.
Big on the
10 days. They played last Thursday. Didn't play well at home. I think they come out and they feed Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. They get that run game going.
Yeah. All right. Let me finish up the video. So that's going to be our week 5. Just look ahead. We'll have our picks out on Sunday, and we'll be back for some trivia in a little bit.